And you recall the fight over seats, where a colleague member sat and then another member sat on him. So much drama. But the height of the drama was when the military entered. And I think that should never ever happen. What saddens me is we could not sit as Parliament to really look at who did that, how it happened, and what processes should be put in place for such a thing never ever to happen again. Not even policemen are allowed to walk into the Parliament chamber because we have a system in place, the marshals. And so it is when the marshals are overwhelmed, then they call for backup and the police to come. And that's why there's a whole police unit based here. But to call in the military, I think it was condemnable. And I'm sad we couldn't go into that matter. But somehow, we still need to look at it. Yes, because it should be something that should never, ever happen.
Okay. But moving forward, I mean, 4 years down the line, how will you assess the work of the 8th Parliament?
I think the 8th Parliament will go down as one of the parliaments that really scrutinize government. And somehow, hung government is good. Hung Parliament is good. Because we put pressure on government to actually reduce, even though we're against the e-levy, we managed to get them to reduce it from 1.75 to 1%. And there was another drama. You remember when we had to fight over the seats, where the then Speaker, First Deputy, said he must get down to come and vote. And we said, wow, if he gets down, nobody will sit on that chair because someone must sit for him to vote. And I think it's afforded. That's why the President said, we didn't allow him to work. We didn't get... It was not... I don't think the president should see it in that light. It rather afforded him to be accountable to the people. Because nothing was just going to be allowed to go through or rubber stamped. And that was the challenge the president had with the 8th Parliament. But I think I am happy the 8th Parliament, Ghanaians chose to have such a parliament and decided that this is how we want things to happen. And I think its effects are seen today. Ghanaians again have decided to elect overwhelming majority of NDCs back into parliament. But it comes with a serious responsibility. We need to be careful not to allow government to exploit the overwhelming majority and for people to perceive that we are a rubber stamp.
Now, would you, with all that you have said about the 8th Parliament, would you pray the country witness a hung Parliament again?
I won't pray for that. The only thing that didn't happen during the 8th Parliament was that no blood was shed. But what we went through was very traumatic. And I'll continue, anytime I have the opportunity, I apologize for those incidents. Because everybody was charged. It was, this is where you see how entrenched our politics is, on political lines. And when the 3-line whip is issued, even if you have your own ideas, you cannot express your ideas. You have to follow the party rule. You have to toe the party line. And so, it made it difficult for governance, especially if the government in power had an agenda or a program and thought, you could just push it through. It was the parliament that needed consensus building from day one to the final day.
Now, moving ahead into the 9th Parliament, what will you be expectations for the 9th Parliament?
Well, I expect still working together. Even though we have overwhelming majority, let's critique whatever comes to us. Let's not just take it hook, line, sinker and say because we are a majority. No. Let's digest it. Let's be honest with government. We think this, let's tinkle it a little. Let's do this for the benefit of the people. Because let's not forget, the expectations down there is massive. And we didn't get this overwhelming majority just to come and rubber stamp everything. No. We must do it to meet the expectations of our people. And I think when we do that, we are home and dry.
Thank you so much, sir. So the expectations of the people is massive. the 9th Parliament doesn't have to look at take everything hook, line, and sinker, but must be able to create a government. We are also going to be joined by the Honourable Member for Gomoa West. Sir, welcome to GTV. You were part of the 8th Parliament, and you are going to be part of the 9th Parliament. How did you see the entrance of the 8th Parliament, and how are you seeing the exit of the 8th Parliament?
First of all, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity. And the 8th Parliament that I was part of, and that was my first time coming to Parliament, I must say that the entrance of the night of our swearing in was something else. All through within the period, we had a very phenomenal process because it was exceptional looking at our strength. Almost Parliament of the same numbers. We're having the Speaker coming from the opposition side, and then government also trying to also push its policies and then programs through. I must say that was very exceptional. But however, what I witnessed, and as I was part of it, I can say that we had a very good Parliament in the 8th Parliament.
What will be some of your key highlights or your takeaways of the 8th Parliament, your work in the 8th Parliament?
So the 8th Parliament, because of the numbers, you could see that the government or the majority side, so say, couldn't have the power to just do things the way they want. The minority and its leadership were very resilient and made sure that what is good for Ghanaians prevailed. However, in most instances, the government, through the little numbers that they have over the minority, had their ways. But I think that there were a lot more bricks in the 8th Parliament.
And you said you were an entrant, you were a first timer in the 8th Parliament. What have you learned? Was the work of Parliament what you envisaged as coming to Parliament? The work of an MP, was it what you envisaged?
So a lot of things that we have learned coming to Parliament was with the view that there's much more of the work in the chamber. But I realized that parliamentary works, even almost about 70% is done outside the chamber. I always say that when you come to the chamber, it's like what actors or stage performance. You have to do a lot of practice before you come. So mostly the things that are discussed on the floor are issues that have been dealt thoroughly at the committee level. Sometimes you have to travel and all those things. So it is a report of it, or the end of it, or the summary of it is what is brought to the chamber. So there's much work to be done as a member. That's one thing I've learned. And it requires a lot of reading. If really you want to do your work well as a member of Parliament, you have to read. Because on a daily basis, you have voluminous records, documents that are brought to you. And you have to take time to go through them. At least salient or key parts should be something that you should be at the tips of your fingers, so that you can also be a very good legislator.
Now you are part of the minority now. You'll be going into the majority tomorrow. In terms of your leadership structure, what are we to expect when it comes to your leaders?
I believe that in opposition we had a very formidable leadership, and I believe getting into power too, we will equally have that formidable leadership.
Any names so far?
Oh no, I cannot, because mostly it is leadership will come up with these decisions, and then I believe that whatever our leaders bring, we as members we trust in our leaders that they will give us people who would lead our forth and then make sure we deliver to the expectation of Ghanaians.
So for now, you are saying that the 9th Parliament, the names for the leaders of the majority of the 9th Parliament is still not out?
It's not out, yes. I know that of our opponents are out, but in our case, we've all heard some speculative names in the system, but I would want to wait till the right ones. I believe by before 10 p.m. today, leadership of the majority, the incoming majority side, will be announced. Okay. But as I said, Ghanaians should expect very formidable leadership.
Okay. Thank you so much. Congratulations, sir. So this has been our coverage from the Chamber Block of Parliament. We are expecting the House to commence sitting any moment from now, and members of Parliament are trooping into the chamber. So Over to you in the studio.
All right, thank you very much. Augustus Akwe is a man in Parliament speaking to MPs. Some of them will be joining the 9th Parliament, some of them exiting as well. We're still covering the process leading to the dissolution of the 8th Parliament and the coming into force of the 9th Parliament. We are live on GTV, we're live on GBC News. Quickly,